back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. I'm Tanya and I document a lot of things here, but I have been documenting my journey to baby number 2. And as you can tell, we have some update for that journey. I don't know what the title of this video is going to be. I haven't really been dreading to have this talk or whatever because you guys know I don't mind sharing. And I like sharing the good, the bad, the ugly through all of this process and stuff, through infertility, through miscarriage, loss, pregnancy. I documented my pregnancy of my first miracle baby already, but I needed a minute with this one because it's been a lot. Before we found out about the last pregnancy, y'all know I had started dealing with like blood clots and trying to figure out what was going on with my health. And then in the midst of finding out about health stuff, we found out about the pregnancy or whatever. But I want to start with first saying thank you to you guys who have given me space, who have shown grace, who have been patient. A lot of you guys have reached out and have been so very kind to me, just saying, hey, haven't seen any updates, hope all is well, I'm praying for you, I'm thinking about you, I just want you to know you're on my mind. Like all these kind things, I really do appreciate it. I did let my IG fam know that I did have some ugly messages sent to me over the last month, things that were not so kind and very rude. Those people have been deleted from Instagram because there were a couple, and then I don't know who they are on YouTube, but I mean they've seen my channel at least. I don't know if they followed me from YouTube to Instagram or whatever, but they had to be let go on Instagram because some people, I mean, just the messages are off the just way out of control and rude. But I'm always going to share. I thank you guys for being patient. I wanted to say all that to say I'm going to share. I just sometimes may need a minute, and I appreciate you guys for giving me my minute. Okay, so let's get into it. So the last video I posted was telling my husband that we were expecting, because y'all know we weren't expecting to be able to conceive on our own, because I did know that I had some issues going on with my tubes. That was also unexpected, still unexplained. We don't know what happened with my body between birth and trying to conceive baby number 2. But right when I was at my OB appointment getting my results back, if you haven't seen all the other videos, I went to an appointment to get pathology results because I was told by the ER that my uterine lining was too thick and all this stuff, and they thought I had cancer. Sent me to my OB, who did took a sample from my uterine tissue or whatever, sent it off to pathology to check for cancer. When I went back for those results, I just, mentioned to my OB like, hey, my cycle hasn't come back and all this stuff. And when she asked if I had taken a pregnancy test, I said no, because I was under the impression that I had something going on with my tubes that she was thinking was some endometriosis and stuff, and she wanted to go in and do a laparoscopic surgery to check on and see if she could clear or unblock my tubes for me or whatever, or clear up any blockages or see what she saw. So that's what that appointment was for. I was also going to be scheduling my laparoscopic surgery, but because I mentioned that my cycle hadn't come the previous week and that I was having breast tenderness, she went ahead and, because you have to give a urine sample when you come anyway, she ran it and the pregnancy test came back positive. And so I was very shocked, very surprised, very excited, very happy. Like, y'all know, if I'll link the video somewhere, all the things. I was very happy, very emotional day. She was happy, she was hugging me like just a miracle. But before I left the appointment, because we already knew there were some tubal things, she was like, I just want to make sure we don't have a tubal pregnancy going on. So she wanted to start with getting my betas done to check my pregnancy hormone levels. If you're not familiar with those type of terms. So I did that. The numbers doubled nicely. Y'all saw I surprised my husband, and she was like, yeah, your numbers look good, because there are signs. Not everybody is this way, but there are signs when you do have an ectopic pregnancy with those betas. Sometimes they can be low. I think for some people they can be like super high very early on, and they don't double, or they'll double, or they'll increase around 30% or less or something like that. But mine were doubling. Everything was looking fine, and we were very happy and excited, hopeful, but still in the back of the mind just praying that, you know, it wasn't ectopic, but keeping it there, just like it could be. But just embrace whatever is going to happen. Enjoy your pregnancy while you're pregnant or whatever, because I have experienced miscarriages before, and I went through that phase of what did I do wrong, did I do enough, and all that stuff. And so from my first miscarriage, I learned personally to go forward with just embracing your pregnancy or whatever phase you're in. Enjoy it while you can. Take pictures while you can, because you never know what can happen. And so that's what I focused on. Well, y'all know, with the other health stuff I had going on with the blood clots and stuff, I was also going to a cancer center here for hematology to start the process to figure out if I have some other disease or disorder that's causing my body to clot, because I had blood clots in both legs. Well, I got my ultrasound done of my legs. I was feeling better. I was on blood thinners, Lovenox injections once we found out I was pregnant. And before I found out, I was taking Xarelto, and the Xarelto made me feel so much better. My legs weren't hurting anymore. I felt like I was getting regular, like, good circulation in my legs, because my feet weren't as cold and stuff as they were. I felt better. And did the ultrasound, and that evening I started having like a really bad abdominal pain or whatever, and it almost felt like really bad gas or something like that. And I was like, oh my god, maybe I just have really bad upset stomach, let me go to the bathroom. I was like, let me just try to make it to the bathroom. But when I went to walk to the bathroom, I couldn't walk upright. I just had to bend over. I hurt so bad. And my husband was like, no, this was not the day after Valentine's Day, I think the next day. So I think the 16th of February, we went to the ER, and they had me waiting in the lobby forever before they finally came to do an ultrasound. And the ultrasound tech was, like a lot of them can be, but it was a man. And he was just like keeping a straight face. He wouldn't look at me. He wouldn't let my husband come back. Dion wanted to be with me regardless. I knew we wouldn't find, like, they wouldn't say anything, because some ultrasound techs won't or whatever, because they're not your actual doctor and they don't want to get in trouble and stuff, which I understand. But I did ask. I was like, you know, are you seeing a baby or whatever? Like, because at this point I still hadn't had my ultrasound. My ultrasound was coming up in like another 2 days or something. He was just like, oh, I can't say anything or whatever. But I was really upset afterwards, because I was like, if you saw, you know, because of, well, I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but there was a baby. The baby had a heartbeat. Did I have it in here? No, I had it in my notes. I have like photos from my surgery here. So anyways, they did the ultrasound or whatever. It sent me back to the lobby. I mean, we sat in the waiting room at the ER for like 3 or 4 hours before they brought me back. And then they sat me in a room with my husband. My son is with me, because we're in the military family. We don't have any family here to leave my son with or whatever. And it's late. I think at that point it was like maybe 11 o'clock. Maybe we sat in the lobby longer than that. I don't know, because it was like midnight before I got the surgery. But the doctor was just, there was no compassion in the way things were done with the whole thing. And that's also kind of something that I was dealing with over the last month, just pissed off about how the staff, the hospital staff, handled everything. because the doctor who was assigned to me, a woman, a black woman, was just like, now what did you say your doctor, because my OBGYN's office is attached to this hospital, and she was like, now what did you say she was telling you? And that's how she came, and she's halfway standing in the room door that I'm in the ER, but also halfway standing out. No curtain, there was no curtain, it was a sliding door. She didn't close the door, nothing. Now what did she say? This is how she was saying it to me. Now what did she say she was going to do for you or something like that? And I was just like, my OB was going to do the laparoscopic surgery or whatever. We were going to see if I had endometriosis. You know, she wanted to check and see if the pregnancy was in my tubes because of this tubal history stuff. And she was like, oh yeah, the baby in your tubes or whatever. And I got the other doctor on the phone, the doctor on call. She just wanted to know because she got to get over here to do the surgery or whatever. But right now she at another hospital and she'll be over here in a little bit. And it was just like that. That's how she told me that it was an ectopic pregnancy. There was no like, hey, we got the results back, I'm getting a lump in my throat. There was no like, hey, you know, come fully into my room and talk to me about what was found. None of that. It was just like, yeah, it was a baby in your tubes or whatever. That baby, and then she said, and that baby got a heartbeat and everything. And that just was like, ugh, it was awful. It was awful. And it was just so frustrating. So if you're in this area, in the Memphis, Millington area, I went to Bartlett at St. Francis Hospital, or St. Francis Hospital in Bartlett. Awful. That emergency room is trash. So do not go there. But that's how she told me, just like that, just no compassion or anything. And I was just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So the baby is in my tubes or whatever. And so at this point she was just like, yeah, and they gotta take it out right away or whatever, you know, because I had been on blood thinners and all this stuff. You know, they were just trying to figure out the plan because they don't want you to have surgeries when you've been on blood thinners, but you know, I can't be having internal bleeding going on at the same time with this ruptured fallopian tube. And so I just felt like I was in like the Twilight Zone, and my son is there, so I'm keeping things straight for him. My husband is always staying solid for me, but I didn't want to scare my son either. And so I was just like, okay. So I was like, well, can I see the ultrasounds? Because when the ultrasound tech left the room to let me like put my pants and stuff back on after giving me my ultrasounds, because he did transvaginal and an abdominal ultrasounds, he did leave the screen up, so I took a picture. And so when we were sitting there waiting in the lobby, we were trying to figure out, but I didn't want to jump to conclusions either, what was going on. They got me prepped for surgery while we waited for the on-call doctor to come over from another hospital in the area. And I had to beg pretty much just to see the ultrasounds. And the lady, the same doctor, was just like, I don't have anything to print them off. And I was like, okay, but you saw the ultrasounds for yourself, right? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, so can you just pull them up so I can look at the computer screen? Like, this is my baby, and y'all are handling it like we're talking about me being constipated or something, just very nonchalant about everything. And I was just like, I mean, I wasn't afforded the opportunity to see anything on the ultrasound, hear the heartbeat or nothing. And so I'm like, I want to see for myself. Like, can my husband see? He wasn't even allowed to come back when I got the ultrasound done. I'm sorry. It's just frustrating. And that's why I was kind of waiting to be able to like fully talk about it, because it's just, that part just pisses me off. There was just no care whatsoever, no consideration, no compassion. So I was just like, look, you're telling me you're about to take my baby from me. At this moment, that baby is alive and well, and I want to see at least a picture. So they pulled up one screen. She said, let me get back to you. She came back and they pulled up like one screen with a bunch of different photos. She didn't try to stand and say, this is what we see. Here's the baby here. If we have any recordings, let me see if I can get the sound of the heartbeat so you can hear. Nothing. She was like, oh, here you go. This is your record or whatever. But don't get the stuff at the top. I know it's your information. But just try not, because I was like, I'm bringing my phone because I want to take a picture because this is all I'm going to have. This is all I'm going to have. And she walked off and left me to it. And I told my husband, like, come here, because I wanted him to be able to see too. So he came over, but that was all we got. So I took a picture of that screen. Now fast forward to when the OB came who would be doing the surgery. She also shares the office with my OBGYN. So she's familiar about my doctor because they share a practice. And, you know, she was cool. But then she was like, yeah, unfortunately, this happens. It's happened to me. My very first pregnancy. But I was able to go on and conceive. So she was cool and trying to be encouraging. But then she tells me, yeah, so this is how things are going to go. I'm going to have to remove this pregnancy. But I'm also going to have to remove your right tube. And I was like, okay, well, my doctor wanted to do a laparoscopic surgery anyway. It's like, what you're doing, you know, will you be able to tell me if you see any endometriosis or what's going on with my other tube or whatever, so I know what I'm working with? And then she goes, oh, well, I won't be able to do anything else because you have another pregnancy in your uterus. And I don't want to disrupt that one if it's a healthy pregnancy. So then it's like, what? I've been sitting here all this time with these other doctors in the ER. And nobody bothered to mention that there was a whole nother pregnancy there. Nobody bothered to mention that there's a whole nother pregnancy. So now I'm concerned because I'm about to get surgery done to have a whole tube removed. And how is this going to be on my body? Is it going to be too much stress on my body for this other baby to survive? Okay, I'm sorry. My memory card ran out of space. But yeah, I was very upset because I was just like, wait a minute. Like, there's another one. And she was like, yeah, you know, we want to give that one a good chance or whatever, but we do want you to come in for an ultrasound so we can check on it, because they didn't even like check for a heartbeat on that one and stuff. And it was just like, there's another baby, y'all completely just disregard it. You just focus on, and I get that the ectopic is serious or whatever, but if you saw that there was another sac, why not look into that one and, you know, check for a heartbeat and all that stuff? They just got a partial, or what I have is a partial picture of a view of that, the sac that was in my uterus or whatever. And the doctor was like, yeah, they didn't get anything else. And I'm looking, so I asked her, I said, well, you're going to do this, you're going to have to remove this baby or whatever. Is there a way to like find out the gender, like do a genetic test or something like that to find out the gender? And she was like, well, no, we only do that for miscarriages. And I was just like, okay. I mean, but what is this? I mean, why not? I get like genetic, you want to see if anything was genetically wrong with the baby, if somebody miscarried or whatever, but I'm requesting it. And I wanted, like, why can't you just include that in the testing? Because they did have to still send the pregnancy and that baby off to pathology and stuff anyway. So why couldn't it just be done? So anyways, I got all the pathology results and stuff back, and like the notes from the surgery or whatever. But after I got the surgery and it was over, I was in a lot of pain. That thing, I don't know how people like just get back to it after a laparoscopic surgery. They did 3 incisions. They did 2 down like over where your ovaries would be at the bottom of your stomach, and then they did 1 across the bottom part of my, like, right on my belly button. And so I was in a lot of pain. Afterwards, the doctor did let us know, like, she would call my husband because it was after midnight. You know, he had my son, and he was like, I wanted to get him something. He's saying he's hungry now. He's up. He's, you know, not really cranky, but he did tell me, like, Mommy, I'm scared. And when he saw me getting in the hospital gown, he came running after the bed and everything when they were taking me to head for surgery and stuff like that. And he was just like, Mommy, I'm scared. And I don't know. It was rough. It was just a lot. It was a lot. And they did the surgery the next day. Next morning, late morning, the new nurse comes on and she's just like, okay, you can go home now. Just like that, walked in, hey, how you feeling? And I was like, I'm waiting on my pain pills. I'm hurting. Like, this hurts. And she was like, oh, well, I'll check on that and see what happened, but you can go home now. Just like that. And I'm just like, wait a minute now. I'm hurting. I was like, the doctor never came to talk to me. She didn't talk to my husband afterwards. And whenever I've had like hysteroscopies and stuff done, the doctor comes and talks to my husband and explains what they did, what they saw, whatever. If they do pictures like I have, they explain what's going on or whatever. And when my husband came back to the hospital after I got out of surgery or whatever, they let him know that I was in the little recovery area. The doctor didn't talk to him. She just left the hospital. And the next day, the nurse was just like, okay, you can go. They didn't say anything to me. All I knew was I was hurting and I was waiting on pain pills, and the person that was off going didn't put things in for me to get pain pills or whatever, or something for my pain. And the new lady is coming on to tell me I can go home. That was it. And it was just awful. That whole experience at the hospital was just terrible. And I was like, wait a minute, I didn't talk to the doctor yet. She was like, oh, well, the doctor called here on her cell phone. And I was like, okay, what the hell does that mean to me? I don't care about her calling on her cell phone. Call her back. And she was like, okay, well, what's your cell phone number? Maybe she can just call you on your phone. And I'm like, first of all, I'm a patient here. I had to do all this stuff, giving my phone number, address, you got all my information already in your system. Why am I needing to give you my cell phone number? So then I started telling her my cell phone number. She has no pen, no paper, or nothing. So I'm halfway through my phone number when she goes, oh, hold on, let me get something to write with. Don't ask me for my phone number like you can just remember it off the top of your head standing at the side of my bed. She wasn't moving to get nothing, not pulling nothing out of those pockets or nothing, asking me for my phone number. She was asking me for my phone number like she could just remember it right quick and go out there and write it down at the nurse's station or something. And then she stops me and asks me to do it again. I'm like, you ignorant bitch. I was over her, okay? And so the doctor ended up calling me back who performed the surgery. And then this is where I had the issue with her. One, you haven't said anything to me or my husband about your findings, how everything went, what you saw, nothing. And I hadn't gotten any pictures that you told me you was going to take or whatever either. And she goes, oh, well, you're cleared to go home now. She said, you're cleared to go home now. What else did you want to know? I said, how the surgery went. Where are the pictures you told me you were going to, take out or whatever? Was there anything else found or whatever? And she goes, well, I'm out right now. Let me see if I can pull up your case on my phone. I was like, what is happening? I've never had anybody just be so like, look, girl, I'm out right now. I don't have time for this after you just did surgery on somebody. Like, I've never had this experience ever in life. And I let my doctor know about her too. But I let my doctor know about I let her know about the whole thing with this hospital and everything. It's been a thing. So she pulls up the pictures that I have on her phone and she tries to She was like, you know, the one that looks like or whatever. Okay, so the way she described the pictures, hers were flipped another way. So she was trying to describe to me these pictures, and to me, I don't know what I'm looking at. So everything just kind of looks like blobs in here or whatever. But she ended up finding out that I had cysts on my fallopian tube on the left side. So she ended up having to remove those. Nobody told me about that. And then she told me that she did have to remove the whole right tube because the pregnancy pretty much was taking up the whole length of the tube and stuff. But it was just a mess, and it has been just a mess. So I went home after that. I got out of the hospital and I was on bed rest and taking it easy and trying to stay hopeful for the second baby and stuff like that. Just trying to keep the faith. It was just a weird place to be when you're trying to have hope, but you're grieving at the same time. Another one, the surprise of it all, the like it being two, and it was just a weird spot to be in. But after a few days of being home, I started having some really bad cramps. Really bad. Well, I mean, some people say cramps, some people say it's contractions. In my experience, it's contractions because your body is having to force, your uterus is forcing something out, and that's what it does when there's something in there that needs to be expelled. It contracts. So it started, and I didn't want to alert my husband, but it started and it came on strong. It came on strong, and then it kind of died down. So I was like, okay, you know, it's still early on, first trimester, you know, you can have, you know, different things going on. It kind of died down, and it came back, and then I was like, okay, I think this is it. And then late in the night, I started like spotting or whatever, and I was just like, this is probably it. So for a couple days I went through that, and then the bleeding just got heavier, and then a week after I had the ectopic pregnancy removed, I miscarried the second baby. And so it was just rough. Like this, in this video, like me having to say it out loud and stuff now, is the most that I've cried about the situation, because it's just been a weird thing. It's just been a weird headspace me and my husband have been in. Both of us have just been like, this is a strange thing. Like you knew that it was a possibility that this thing could go on, but then to lose two a week apart, and then just like, oh, it could have been two. Lux could have been getting two new siblings. And then just, we've been back and forth with that. Like, oh my God, what would they have been like? What would Lux have been like, you know, seeing two whole babies come in? Like, how would that change our dynamic? Like, what would things have looked like for us or whatever? Like, were they boys or girls? Was it one boy, one girl? Like, we've been going through that whole thing. And at the same time, I've still been going to hematology trying to figure out what is going on with this blood clot situation, because it started back up and I've been in a lot of pain with my legs and stuff. Just, it's been a lot. The start of 2023 has been the hardest I've ever, I can't even say that, because 2017, when I had my first miscarriage, that was in January too. Like the first week of January. But January was rough because I knew my dog was dying, and he died. And in the middle of grieving him, the blood clot situation happened, and then adding on that week of worry about my pathology results, like, do I have cancer? Only to find out a week after that, like, no, it's actually, it was early pregnancy they caught, and it wasn't cancer. And then it was like, well, wait a minute, I had a whole biopsy done of my uterus, not knowing that I was pregnant. Just the worry of, is this baby gonna be in my tubes or not? And then for it to be the case only to find out it's another one, and then to lose that one too. It has been rough. Our family has been taking blows since about August. August, July. And it started with my husband's heart health stuff. I shared that already. He's still seeing doctors trying to figure out why he has cardiomyopathy, why his heart has weakened. However, he's on like a bunch of medications right now, and something is helping his heart to be a little bit stronger, but it's still not where they would like for it to be, like the minimum for it to be. Like, they want your heart to function at least 50%. I think he might be at like 35 or 40% or something like that. I don't know. But they don't know why my husband has a weak heart, and he has procedures coming up too, so we can kind of look at things more next week actually. But in the midst of all that, I have my stuff going on. We've had these losses, and it's just felt like a very chaotic time. It's just been so chaotic. I'm so sorry for coming on crying like this, but it's just been a lot. It's just been a whole lot, and I'm tired. Some days have been better than others. I've been remembering to like give myself grace through this whole thing, which is why I haven't felt rushed to come back to YouTube to explain anything either. I've been kind of taking my time just because it's been so much. It's just been a lot, and I'm taking it a day at a time, y'all. Like, I'm literally taking one day at a time. I've tried to like seek counseling and stuff before all this stuff happened, and it's just so hard to find a therapist. I mean, I've been through different avenues and everything trying to find therapists, trying to find a therapist that specializes in fertility and loss and all that stuff. It's already hard, but then trying to get in or find one that's available for grief has been hard or challenging for me. It's just been a lot. So it's been a lot. But that's what's going on. I'll wrap this up because I know this video is probably long. We lost our twins, and it has been up and down. For a minute I was like, oh, we're doing pretty good. Then I kind of started declining, but yesterday was the first day of spring, and we're off the heels of Lux's birthday celebration. My mom came into town, Dion's mom came into town. They stayed with us for a while, so that has been refreshing for me, having them come stay, love on us, love on Lux, seeing Lux with his grandparents. My baby brother came, and just seeing him with his family, he was just so excited. Like, he was jumping up and down with excitement, seeing everybody, and like he had no clue. And so when he saw everybody, he was like, Nanny's here, Grandmama is here. Like, he was so excited, and that was just the best to see him be so excited. And it was a nice break from everything, focusing on celebrating his birthday, focusing on keeping him busy through his spring break from school. We went to museums, Build-A-Bear. He started taking swim lessons. He's supposed to have like a t-ball tryout today for like spring summer t-ball or whatever. So I'm trying to stay busy. The boy is keeping me busy. I don't get a lot of time to like sit in things right now. Right now, I'm about to be leaving home to go and pick him up from school, so I have time. I'm home by myself now. Dion spent a lot of time working from home to be with me too. He's so good to me. So supportive. But I just remember to like check in, like, hey, how you doing? How are you feeling about everything or whatever? Because I don't want him to feel like he needs to pacify me and my emotions and my feelings and stuff, because we went through it together. But yeah, that's where we are. That's what's happening. My doctor, my OBGYN, offered to do a laparoscopic surgery again so that she can go in and see, because of the images. They weren't that clear, and they couldn't do like a uterine lift and do all these other things she mentioned because there was the other pregnancy and they didn't want to disrupt anything. So she didn't get a lot of images. So, but when my OB looked at them, she was just like, I can't see good on that left side to get a better picture of what's going on or whatever. That doctor who performed the surgery just cleaned up what she could or whatever. And we just don't know what inside of the tube is like or whatever on the left side. So, but Dion is very much ready to he was like, this is like really motivated me. I really want to get it done. I'm really ready for the next baby and stuff like that. He was like, that got me really excited. Like, he was very excited and happy. Y'all saw him in that video. If you saw his reaction video, the reaction. So he was very excited. He's ready to like jump straight back into trying. I am just kind of like, I need a minute to just kind of, if you've had a miscarriage before, I mean, I know some people jump right back in and just kind of treat it like another period and they just keep going. But after having that surgery and stuff, and I just want to give my body a second. Just give me a minute. That was a lot. It's still a lot. I actually have an appointment. I have a new hematologist because the one that I was seeing at the first cancer center, he was awful. I told my primary care doctor, go ahead and put me a referral in for somebody else because this one ain't gonna work. So I have a new hematologist. I like him a lot. He also, without me even like telling him about any fertility, miscarriages, anything, he knows about it because it kind of led when he made the statement of he wants to check for some health things or whatever. Because they can lead to like having multiple miscarriages and stuff. And then I explained to him my history with miscarriage and infertility, and you know, if you have clotting disorders and stuff like that, that causes issues with fertility too. And a lot of people don't know they have clotting disorders that can cause issues with infertility and miscarriages and stuff. So something may have been missed. There is something going on, though. They have thrown out right now, they're trying to figure out one of two diagnoses. I'm not claiming either of them, and I'd like for it to just be like something, you know, toned down. But I am currently being tested to see if I have lupus, so I may be going to see a rheumatologist here soon because of my labs that came back already. Some stuff, I had these like genetic panels and stuff like that that were done. I do have a cousin with lupus, but it's just, I don't want to be claiming, that's a very serious thing. I don't want to be claiming these things. I'm just sharing what I kind of have laid out in front of me. The other thing is rheumatoid arthritis, which on my dad's side, there's a history of, but I don't know everybody's history. Something is going on with the way that my labs have come up, and you know, there's something going on. I'll just leave it at that. There's something happening, and this new doctor wants to get to the bottom of it and figure out exactly what kind of disorder I have going on that's causing me to have this clotting issue in my legs. And I want to get to the bottom of it because I don't want to be just constantly worried and concerned about, you know, blood clots all the time. And it's painful. Right now I'm kind of like on a maintenance thing, and I'm okay I'm taking one baby aspirin a day right now to kind of like keep things at bay, and I don't know if it's working. I'm not as in much pain as I have been, I'll say that. But I did start having like sciatic nerve issues last night on top of it in my left leg, so that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, that's what's going on. So I just need a minute before I pick up on TTC stuff or trying to conceive. We are prepared to do IVF if we have to. The only thing is I don't want to pay for fertility treatments at a civilian clinic. If we're going to be moving next year anyway to a place with a military treatment facility that has a fertility clinic, I'd rather do it that way because it's much cheaper, and I'd rather pay a cheaper cost because that gets very expensive, and it's like more than half the difference off of that, because the fertility clinic here was like quoting me like $20,000 or whatever to start IVF treatments, and I know they cost different things. Some military treatment facilities, it can be around $6,000 to do IVF, and I'd rather do that over $20,000. But also I know that someone else wrote me right before I found out, like literally the week before I found out, or 2 weeks before I found out I was pregnant. Someone emailed me, so if you're seeing this, thank you so much. That was very, very encouraging for me. But she shared her experience with taking serapeptase, I think that's what it is. I'll put the name on the screen. She was taking that. She was also told that she had blocked tubes and stuff, and didn't think that she could get pregnant, and got a surprise pregnancy right after Christmas. So I hope all is well with you, ma'am. Yeah, it worked out for her, and I know a couple of you guys told me that you tried it but haven't been consistent with it or whatever. She said she wasn't consistent with it either, but it helped her with, I guess, maybe clearing up some scar tissue or something like that, and she is now pregnant with her baby. And so, hey, I thought about doing that, but when you do a little bit of research, and not a little bit, do your research before you just start taking stuff that people recommend online. But I did see that that is also a blood thinner, and because I've been taking blood thinners, you don't want to have too much going on. So I won't be taking that. I won't be taking it anytime soon. I'm just going to throw that out there because I have other health things that we're trying to figure out, and while I'm on some type of blood thinner, I don't want to be taking any extras. So that's where I am. Today I've been feeling pretty good. I guess now I'll be doing a little bit of my cleanup stuff after I pick up Lux from school. I'm about to throw some stuff in the crock pot before I walk out the door so I can have dinner started or whatever. Just in case we do, because I haven't heard anything yet about them canceling his t-ball tryouts for this evening. So yeah, that's where I am. I'm doing all right, y'all. I'm taking it a day at a time. Things are rough. I still have faith. I'm not angry with God or anything, because listen, it is not lost on me that I am still very much living in a real life promise from God. I didn't think I could have kids. I was told I wouldn't be able to have kids, but here I am with a 3-year-old. Those 3 years have gone by fast. He is talking and telling me what he likes and doesn't like, and telling me when he's happy or when he's sad or when he's scared, and he's doing so well. He's grown a lot this school year. Sending him to school was like the best thing. His speech has improved. He met all his goals with speech ahead of time, like earlier than they expected him to. And so they were like, he doesn't really need it anymore, but I'm still going to take him weekly just for maintenance, just to keep up on things, help him with his articulation, fine-tuning things or whatever. So yeah, our weeks are already pretty busy, but they're getting busier. We got speech therapy through the week, occupational therapy, swim lessons. If he likes t-ball, which I think he will, we'll be doing t-ball practice and all that stuff. And oh yeah, I started school back for this spring semester. I don't even think I said anything on Instagram about that one, but I am back in school. I am back in school on top of all of the things that are going on in my life. Yeah, I'm planning family vacations. I'm still trying to just live life and take it all one cycle at a time, one day at a time, one thing at a time. Yeah, I know this video is long. If you've made it to the end, make sure you leave me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure you subscribe. Let me know in the comments how you guys are doing, how you guys feeling, How are you? I know a lot of you reached out to me and let me know that you are also pregnant, or finding out you were pregnant at the same time. Let me know how you guys are doing. How are those babies doing? I'd like to know. Dion is calling me now, so I'm gonna close this out. Thank you guys for all the love and support. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.